Hey guys, Jason and Adam here from Kite Tech. And now that the dust has settled a little bit from Friday's fun fiasco in IT space, um, wanted to talk a bit about like just what happened. All the news and stuff says, CrowdStrike blew up the world or Microsoft blew up the world or whatever the case is. So, as I was reading through things that happened, I was seeing a lot of assumptions, a lot of misinformation. So, just wanted to kind of talk a bit about that. So let's start with that. Like, Adam, what happened? How was your Friday?
Honestly, Jason, my Friday was kind of uneventful, and that was intentional. I woke up to a couple of kids, standard summer modes, and I had a 7:30 client meeting. I got a phone call from my brother who works in a branch of the federal government, the good old Bank of United States of America, the Federal Reserve, and he says to me, Adam, our systems are broke, and like I think he was just calling to say this is what happened, like, not like, can you fix this? But I was like, okay, sure, let me Google this situation, check the interwebs and see what's going on. And so I start to see, misinformation or confusion, I think is how I would put it. I was like, all right, there's more questions to this. I see words CrowdStrike, I see words Microsoft, and I see a bunch of airlines. There's more going on
Airlines,
here.
banks,
Yeah, thanks.
hospitals, blue screen
Yeah,
of death everywhere.
exact. It was
Like,
chaos, a little bit of
yeah,
chaotic.
the largest global outage in like the history of global IT outages or
Yeah, I,
something like that.
I I think it definitely takes the cake for one of the largest ones that we've certainly been through. And this magnitude, we've seen a lot of tech related events from ransomware to security events, and those kinds of things. And it's funny, this is a different kind of security event, I would say, right, Jason? Not the kind of typical thing that we see, right?
Yeah,
Um,
not a hack, not a breach, not a
yeah,
cyber attack. So it was I guess it was a breath of fresh air in that regard, in the sense that like, hey, at least at least it's something new.
right. Something different. That's for sure. So I think a lot of people probably, hopefully that are tuning in here with us today are probably thinking, well, who the heck is CrowdStrike and what are these folks about?
Yeah,
Because
so let's get a
who are
little bit
they?
let's get a little bit technical. I mean, question one, like who and or what is CrowdStrike, and like what did they do to destroy the planet? Like, let's just start with that.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
So CrowdStrike is a security firm. When you think about old school antivirus, you think about WebRoot and Symantec and all those things. Um, CrowdStrike it would be an oversimplification to call them an antivirus product, but that's what they are. They're a security tool, endpoint detection response, lives on servers, lives on workstations, laptops, and just kind of protects you from the world.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not just, I think not just one of those kinds of tools that we, have in our modern security stack, but they're actually one that has a significant market share, and they have a lot of endpoints that they protect globally.
Oh
And so
yeah, objectively, I would say they're one of the best.
yeah,
When
definitely.
you think of like the big names, Cylance, Sentinel One, I mean, CrowdStrike is like right up there.
Yeah,
There's no joke in the IT space that, nobody ever gets fired for buying Cisco stuff. And,
right.
up until Friday, I guess the same thing would have been true of
This
CrowdStrike. It's
this
like
was true.
nobody, like if you buy CrowdStrike and you install CrowdStrike and all the systems, like no one's going to say like, I don't think you made the right call. I mean,
Right.
it's a phenomenal threat protection.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
And yet, you know, at the end of the day, we're all humans. So, you know, the the CrowdStrike software, the Falcon platform,
Yep. Falcon.
it's got deep, 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 deep roots into the operating system itself, and into Microsoft Windows, into Mac,
Yep.
and that's how it can deliver the great protection that it does. But you make a slight miscalculation and you slip that into it, you've slipped that update into the very fiber of your being, the core of the operating system.
Yep.
So that's what happened here. It was a mistake of some kind, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot more because now they're being called to, speak in front of Congress and tell everybody all the stuff. And
Yep.
but that's what happened here. Somebody released an update, and that update went into the root of our operating systems, and then bam, blue screen of death
Yeah.
everywhere, all over the place.
Just
So,
to add a few points, a little bit more technical there for folks. If you can imagine a layered model here. I'll just use my hands. And at the very bottom, and we're not going to go through the whole OSI model here today,
sure.
but there is a simple layman's version of this. And I would say a lot of people are familiar with the words firmware or BIOS. They're updates to the code for certain pieces of your computer systems, right? And so there's this hardware level of software, if you will, that happens before the operating system layer. And the operating system's a little bit further up the stack, if you will. And so between the hardware and the operating system, Windows in this case, is this layer of security. And it really does interact with both the operating system and the core components of the operating system, as well as the hardware level at the device, like things like your hard drive, right, for encryption and those things. And so that's the layer we're talking about here. CrowdStrike lives right there at that operating system layer. And that's really where this issue was, where it broke down. So it didn't even boot to Windows fully. It broke
Wow.
down before there. And that was just for anybody who didn't hear what happened. That's what happened. It was a blue screen of death, but a whole different kind of blue screen, really in a recovery manner for the encryption of your hard drive and those kinds of things. So once you hit that point, you're stuck. You weren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we're talking about the kernel. The kernel.
Yeah.
So when you think of
Yep.
like popcorn, like the kernel, that's
The kernel.
exactly what we're talking about. It's kind of the root of all the things.
Yep.
I think in the days to come, that term is going to be, just part of the public lexicon at some
Yep.
point. We're all going to learn an awful lot more than we ever thought we wanted to know about
Th-
kernels.
That's right. That's
And
right.
not the kind you got to pick out of your teeth.
No, definitely
So
not.
so the problem, so we do IT services and we do it remotely, and we're very successful because we have tools and reliable operating systems and stuff. But without that operating system, our remote control software doesn't run. And without our remote control software, we're kind of useless. And that's the position that these folks found themselves into. Now we don't use CrowdStrike here, so our clients were unaffected, but for those that were affected, it's like you call up your remote help desk and you're like, "Hey, can you get remoted into my system?" Probably not.
Nope, not today.
So
Yeah.
some serious recovery challenge. It's not hard. When they produced the fix and they said, all you got to do just boot to recovery, log in, put in your BitLocker key. I hope you got that
Yep.
thing stored,
Hope
and then
it's up
just
there.
delete this one little file that's
Yep.
preventing the system from booting. Delete the file,
Go
off
back to
and
work.
running, happy day.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it,
how many people do you have to call to get that BitLocker recovery key? And
yeah,
you think
that's
somebody
question number
who's
one.
booking putting you on your plane to see your sister's going to know what the heck that means? No, probably
Yeah.
not.
So
Yeah.
Microsoft did a good thing in releasing some tools, and CrowdStrike released some good processes. And these were, all good things, and very good response time, super rapid. I mean,
Yep.
the world was falling apart. So yeah, they responded in kind and
For
did some
sure.
good things, but then it just became a Herculean effort of like, okay, I got 5,000 endpoints. I got to touch every single one. or find
Yep.
people who can touch them on my behalf and do the thing. So it really became a just a real challenge of physical presence. How are we going to be in all the places at all the time? And of course, a lot of people are giving up. They're hanging up signs on their shops. We're closed for the day because of this or this and this, and everybody's like, "Damn you, Microsoft! You know,
Yeah.
Microsoft is down. We're out." And
Right.
so
Yeah.
so there was this huge push in the media and everything. They're like, Microsoft, what are you doing about this? And so I mean, you're a Microsoft MVP. So then that becomes the joke. So how do you respond to that? Like, damn you, Microsoft, do better.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was funny that the first article that I read was blaming the headline or the byline had both CrowdStrike and Microsoft with more of a focal point on Microsoft. And I thought to myself, well, there's some misinformation here in what I'm reading, and I'm sure somebody in the editorial position is gonna, have to get yelled at for allowing this to come to press, if you will. And I mean, the reality here of whose fault is this or those kinds of things. I mean, CrowdStrike when the dust settled, CrowdStrike raised their hand and they said we made an error. We pushed bad code in technical terms. We pushed down software that we shouldn't have. Why are people confusing the two of Microsoft and CrowdStrike? Well, for two reasons, really. One is the problem was limited in scope to the Windows operating system, right? So Windows is owned, manufactured by Microsoft. Why else are people, talking about it? Well, of course, because it's tied to the daily use of millions of people, billions of people in our world, right? A lot of people use Windows every single day. The other side of it is also, well, how could this happen? How could something get released to a Windows device that Microsoft wasn't in charge of, right? Like something that would break a system level function or the kernel, right? And that's a really good question. How is that possible? Because you hear all these things all the time about, government having to have keys to things in security. Apple's a headline that you've read about for the last decade about security, privacy, and control of those things for, some would say the wrong reasons, others would say the right. I'm not going to take a position because that's just stupid. This is the internet. I'm just here to present confusing stories, right? But seriously, Microsoft at some point got pulled into litigation and for the EU, the European Union, and more or less what European law dictated. I'm not a lawyer, but bottom line layman's terms is that, hey, EU said the keys to the system, the keys to the kernel, the keys to the root security for Windows, you need to give us the keys. And so this is how CrowdStrike was able to actually apply this system level patch out without it passing any of the checks that Microsoft puts in its release cadence. It just went directly out to a system level and was released down to the devices. And Microsoft kind of said, well, you said I had to do the thing, so I did the thing. I did the thing, and now this thing happened. And so this is going to create a quite a conundrum, right? If that's the right way to pronounce that word. I think it is. But
Hmm.
hey, I'm from the East Coast. People tell me I don't know how to speak all the time. But the reality is,
Twitter.
yeah, sure, exactly. But the reality of those keys and who has control of that, and Apple has done fought tooth and nail to maintain security keys for their things for a long time, and people don't understand why. Well, this is a great example of
Yeah.
the why.
Yeah, this
It
is
really
why.
is. Closed
Yeah, so
systems, proprietary systems have a value and a purpose and a need. And so, but this is not an easy decision to make, right? Being between these things, needing to bolt on security and who has that responsibility. But that's my understanding of what happened here, right? How about you, Jason? Did I miss a detail there?
no, no, that's how I saw it, and that's how Microsoft saw it because they were real quick to be like, "Hey guys, I just want to remind you, remember when we released Windows
Back in
Vista?"
2022, when I think 2020 or 2022, when this battle went down in the
Oh
EU,
God, no, it
was
started
it
it
that?
started back with Vista.
Oh man, that
When
was
Windows
yeah,
Vista came out, it was the operating system that was going to change the world. And the way they were going to do it, first and foremost, is a secure kernel. They were going to
yeah,
kick everybody out
that's
and make
right.
it super reliable, super solid.
Yep,
And that's when, the McAfees and the semantics of the world started to cry foul and antitrust, and they were threatening some
sure.
things. And ultimately, that's where the European Union came in and said, this is not a, no, we can't go down this path. You can't have monolithic control.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know enough to say what the alternative universe could look like had they kept it locked down.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
but I guarantee you somebody's going to be asking the question. I mean, clearly Apple has an opinion. Apple's like,
Yeah,
our system is solid. And
yeah,
one of the secrets of developing that solid system is to keep you guys out.
right. Closed platform for
So yeah,
sure.
I think we're gonna have some really, really good heartfelt conversations about where it ends because we see a lot of damage, a lot of lost money, a lot of frustration, a lot of confusion. You couldn't access your bank, your flights were canceled. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of people have every
can't
right to be like,
can't check out.
what are you guys gonna do better?
Yeah. Well, I mean that
So
if we go through the line, kind of, we talked through the problem at a real basic technical level. We talked about kind of how the industry responded and the world responded, right? And I think that kind of leaves us to this piece of our industry that we serve of the independent insurance agencies out there and what's relevant to them here, Jason? What would you say that they need to consider as they see a problem like this? I mean, does this fall under what we would call cyber liability coverage? And I'm not certified in these acronyms, man. This is your world. So what would you say to that? How do we talk to our customers about this?
so the interesting thing is only 17% of any businesses have a cyber policy.
Well,
So
that's
that's a problem in and of
in
itself. But
itself for
but
sure.
no, so the cyber policies protect you from, cyber attacks, incidents,
Yeah,
things like that. And that wasn't this. So, the next stop down the road is, well, let's look at our business interruption coverage because clearly our business was interrupted, right?
right, sure.
So, um, business interruption often excludes cyber related things,
Oh,
software and workstations and things like that. It's an add-on coverage. Um, so for our customers, I think if you haven't been strongly recommending that, now's the time.
yeah,
That's a really good coverage to have when you think about the scope and the magnitude of what the system does and
sure.
what you have to go through when it doesn't provide it. But you also have waiting periods on business interruption, and it can be anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, which, on the surface doesn't sound bad if I gotta, if I'm without business for 8 hours. But if you're a bank, if you're an airline, if you're a municipality, 8 hours to wait for business interruption coverage to kick in, that's a
Yeah,
lifetime.
that's pretty significant. I mean, what about human and like health services? Think about this
Yeah,
context of medical and those kinds of things. I mean,
yeah.
that's
And when you look at your terms and conditions for, cloud services,
yeah.
more often than not, there's a limit of liability there that says basically, yeah, we'll refund your money or we'll give you a credit or something like that.
Mm,
The limit of liability in the terms and conditions rarely ever takes into consideration this type of stuff.
sure.
Now you do see some EDR antivirus softwares that do give you a performance guarantee, like they'll give you a $1 million bounty, if you will.
Right.
You know,
Sure.
if the stars align and all the
Yep.
things that you're
You
doing all the
did your
right
due
things, and yet
diligence to
it
follow
still
policy and
failed.
procedures and all. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a couple of things there. I mean, Sentinel One was famous for having their $1 million buyout.
Sure.
If you do all the things according to best practice and the software still fails you, there's a bounty to be had.
Yeah.
But I think we learned to some degree where we're a lot more vulnerable than we thought.
Sure.
And so that kind of leads us to, okay, we know that the best of breed software, it can fail us. It happens. Nothing's perfect. Um, our insurance is not a cover-all that's gonna indemnify all the things all the time.
Great.
So what do we do? What do we need to be thinking of in terms of how to protect our businesses, how to protect our customers, how to advise? What
Yeah.
does that plan B look like? Um,
Sure.
I suppose you could take the Southwest approach if you're still running Windows 3.1, you didn't notice that Friday was any different. I don't know that that's the route I would take.
Well, I mean, I don't want to pretend to know specifically what Southwest is running for their infrastructure because I'm not responsible for their IT. But I think it's fair to say that you dodged a bullet if you weren't running modern Windows platform here, right? That's Windows 10 or 11. You probably dodged the bullet. Windows 10 or 11 plus CrowdStrike equals fail for this one, but that that concept, I mean, there could be a vulnerability that comes out tomorrow for Mac OS or Linux, whatever your platform is. So, do you think it's fair to say that diversity in your stack or in your recovery or your business continuity plan is worth considering? Um, so that way you have that second line. Is that not practical from a dollar standpoint? Or is it fair to just say, well, we all bet on Microsoft and CrowdStrike, and so did a third of the world, so we're all in this together and down, right? There's a couple different perspectives there to consider.
Yeah. And I've been seeing that a lot. It's like, well, you should have, disparity of OS or, difference of this or different vendors or different platforms. Um, I mean, ultimately, what's right for your business is going to be different depending on
Sure.
what your business is. But, if you have multiple platforms, you've got management issues.
Yeah.
If you're going to choose to separate, you better have absolute control over all the things you separated. Otherwise, you just doubled your risk. You doubled your stuff. So you've taken a lot of bad for some good. Yeah, I know
Yep.
with our customers, we've always taken that first party approach. When we
Yeah.
look to deliver a new service or a new feature in businesses, because we support Windows operating systems, we go to Microsoft first.
Yeah.
So, our clients
Yeah.
were using Microsoft Defender.
That's
And
right.
Microsoft, they could shut it down too, but at least we have focus. If our systems go down, we know exactly what happened. Microsoft, what's the deal here?
Yep.
No, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't, there's no inter-vendor situation that I got to get in the middle of and hold hands, no finger pointing. So it's pretty clean, and I gotta say, I think that strategy has served us well.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, definitely. We're not going to name other past partners because that's just not fair to say who we're no longer doing business with. But I can remember when we were approaching this decision of Microsoft for security on the endpoint, right? And it had been some time since we felt comfortable really looking at that decision. And Microsoft has had a proven track record of cloud security and security in their Exchange email products. And so looping back to the endpoint seemed like a natural progression for us. And I think you're right that the first party approach, the similar vendors, similar. I don't want to say single pane of glass because that gets reused too many times, but all the eggs in one basket. Sure, we'll bring that one back for this. That approach, I like the layers of responsibility that we're counting on Microsoft to do it, and I think they do a pretty good job in responding and being able to manage what's there. So I think that's why our customers, I know that's why our customers didn't feel this impact, right? Because we weren't using CrowdStrike. And there's nothing wrong with that product if it makes sense for your business. It's just
No,
uh,
it is still
a
one of the
great
most
product
phenomenal security products out
for
there.
sure.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't, Friday didn't change my mind. If you were using
No.
Crowdstrike on a Thursday and you were using Crowdstrike on a Saturday, I think that's still great. I don't,
Yeah,
it's unfortunate that it happened, but
for sure.
I don't know that it was anything out of band or wrong or shouldn't
Yeah.
tarnish their reputation at all. It's just a question of, what do we learn and where do we go from here? Now,
I,
I like the modern workplace that Microsoft provides because it has some of that stuff built in.
yeah.
If Microsoft goes down, I know their team's already fixing it. So
Yep.
I don't have to shift my focus. I don't have to work my recovery efforts. To some degree, I have to wait and watch, but I
Sure.
know that Microsoft is a big enough thing that they're working as fast and as diligently as they possibly can to bring impacted services online.
That's
And we
very
see this all the time. Teams might be running a little slow, or
sure.
maybe emails are a minute or two behind schedule, but I don't have to shift my focus from my day to day to have
No,
them
we
fixed.
know they got it and they're doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in that realm of, we talked about the insurance coverages and we're talking about, having a business interruption policy, considering that where cyber liability starts and ends. And if you don't have it, talk to your guys, go talk to the people who you get insurance from and get it. We can do a little bit of light advice. We got somebody in the Phoenix area who's Arizona certified. I think his name's Jason, and he wears a smiley face. But we don't sell insurance. Side note, maybe yet, who knows?
Yeah. If you're
But
if you're in Arizona, I can maybe advise
yeah.
on.
But all that being said, I think there's two other practical mitigation tactics I want to throw out for consideration. These issues happen on live systems where data was there on the systems themselves, right?
Mhm.
And you have to have security at the hardware level of these machines that are out in the wild. There were a few instances which really weren't impacted by this significantly. One of them was cloud PCs, right? And so if you had a cloud PC, you still had the same issue, right? Where it had a blue screen, you needed a recovery key, but you could roll back pre-patch a lot easier if it's cloud system. And so we saw a lot of our partners and other folks we work with, Nerdio, and Microsoft kind of saying, hey, if you're on AVD, if you're on Windows 365, if you're living in Azure, here's a fast path to recovery. And that's, in our terms, that's old school terminals. We used to use Wise terminals and we put you on a terminal server, right? So considering that approach is one other thing to consider as a strategy. And then in addition to that, the whole line of, well, yeah, our tools that we use nowadays sit on top of the Windows operating system, and that's how we connect in and do service delivery. But there's also tools out there that connect down to the device level hardware, right? And terms we've used in the past, ILO is a standard for something, HP uses. DRAC is something that Dell uses, and vPro and other hardware level controls that give you the ability to tap into that keyboard, mouse, and monitor of the machine at the hardware level. And so those are other dollars I'm sure that will come out of this. People are going to say, well, how do we get connected to that thing pre-Windows? And so we'll see some things like that, I'm sure, come along
Oh,
the way.
sure. Yeah, on the workstations, laptops and PCs, you've got vPro and that remote stuff.
Yep.
On the server level, you've got iDRAC and ILO for the HPs and stuff. So if you're still running some on-prem servers, that extra few $100s that they charge you for that license, really, it was really
Worth
worth
considering.
worth the money right now. Of
Yeah,
course, even
for
if you want
sure.
to kick it like super old school, they still make and sell the spiders that
Yeah.
you plug into the back of the computer and it
Yep.
creates a network connection.
Little
Um,
VNC path. Yeah,
yeah, so
for
so
sure.
kicking it old school still worked,
Yeah,
and a lot
man.
of this stuff was, you'd do a video or a screen share to walk an end user through boot to safe mode, open a command console, do the thing, and just because the Windows device went down, I still had my cell phone, I still had my tablet, I still had ways
Yep.
to get to my email, to my Teams, to my phone system. that gave me alternative paths to get the information and get back and running.
For sure.
So a
Well,
lot
I
of
mean,
good options.
yeah, definitely. Well, I hope, Jason, we don't have another global catastrophe like thing to do a little session on, but this was really great to sit and kind of jive on this a little bit with you. So hopefully we can share in some of our perspective with the community at large here. Anything that comes to mind that we want to do on the outro here?
I think the most important thing now is, we sit back and we have the conversation. Of course, I'm sure CrowdStrike is going to come out with more information on,
Yep.
you know, how this is going to be mitigated in the future. But for the rest of us, I think it's good enough to sit back and think real hard about where our systems are, what our exposures are. You know, what if we lost every computer in the place right now?
Yep.
What does business look like? How do
Where's
we
that
get
leave
back?
us?
And these are, I mean, this is disaster recovery and business continuity 101. These are the same
101.
things that we've been talking about for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's just we're not talking about the server in the closet anymore. We're
Nope.
talking about the cloud. We're talking about the internet. We're talking about,
Yeah.
to some degree,
Distributed systems at scale,
yeah.
crazy
And to some
scale.
degree, working from home has really kind of cordoned off a lot of that.
Yeah.
We don't have power outages in the office anymore that
Great.
take us out. So, but yeah, I think that's the lesson here is, the nuts and the bolts work of what business continuity needs to look like, and that contingency plan, it lives on, be it a cyber event or a service outage.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's also important to remember that as we live in this cloud first workplace mentality and mass distributed systems that we're growing into really in a hyper growth since post COVID, right? There's some problems we can't solve for, right? And so we're going to continue to see challenges like this as we have globally shared distributed systems and all the smart people in the world, we're humans, so we're going to forget something. Who knows? Maybe we'll end up in 2 years doing a video about on-prem vulnerability as we all make our way back to the server in the closet. Who
That's
knows?
right. We're putting the servers back in our
Yeah, we're
closets and
going
our
back.
bathrooms again.
Well, this has been fun. Thank you guys so much for watching us today and being with us. We
Yeah, thanks a
appreciate it.
lot.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See
Take
ya.
care. Bye.